all governments so far, that's all they've been doing. So
Yes.
at least now there is no,
Hmm.
no change. No,
Yeah.
that is good. No, we should have no change for like long periods of time.
Yeah, then we can plan. Otherwise, it's too dynamic, sir. Every year is too much for
Yeah.
us to adjust to the manipulations.
Because once you change tax, it
Hmm.
takes 2, 3, maybe 5 years before the full effect
Hmm.
for the government only can figure out. So if you
Yes.
keep changing every year, you don't know what you're getting more, less,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah.
you know.
By the time even the entire ecosystem understands, this will
Yeah,
again change. Right.
correct, correct. So that same thing, that's why just keeping quiet for some time would be the best.
Hmm.
Not. Uh,
Yeah.
we've gotten into this habit of every year we will do something.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the bad part
Yeah,
about.
another positive what I thought is that because of the election, these
Ah,
fellows did not talk about food security bill or some nonsense bill. I
right,
was
right.
more worried about it. Last time Sonia Ji did that. Suddenly she makes everyone pauper in the country, and 80% of people will be covered under free food. 80% of people will be covered under free food. कहाँ से पैसा आएगा कौन देगा
No,
I was a bit worried about the elections,
yeah.
so lucky that they didn't change it.
No, no, no. That's why it was not.
Yeah,
So, I mean, as it is, state governments, they all throw freebies. At
yeah,
least now there's no point there. Everything
yeah.
is free and nobody wants to work. Um,
See, that way what happens, the entire industrial absenteeism increases.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
The more and more public distribution system is successful, the industrial absenteeism increases, and it becomes more unviable actually for
yeah.
the entrepreneurs. So these social schemes have got other effect also.
I mean, social, I mean, they're misused also. They are very
Hmm.
highly misused, especially, I mean, if you see minority communities misusing social schemes, it
Yeah.
is, normal people may not, because many people they'll say, okay, fine, but
Yes.
segments they
Yeah.
misuse. So it becomes
That's a
difficult.
big ecosystem which almost ruins the entire schemes. They purchase the ration food at a cheaper price. There is another big economy, right? They purchase 2 rupees rice, they take it, they process it again, they
Yeah.
give us good rice. They say that it leads to a lot of other mischiefs also.
I mean, in Karnataka, they give 30 kgs of rice free. So
Hmm.
I mean, somebody was telling me, "Arey, yaar, I've got so much rice,
Hmm.
I get it for free. I'll give it to you for 10 rupees a kg. Give me some money."
Sir, there are people who can procure at the gate itself. From
Ah,
the public distribution shop itself, they
right.
procure it at 5 rupees, 7 rupees, and they process it also. They make it
Ah,
again polished and sell it at a
correct.
higher rate. So a lot of misuse is happening than use.
Yeah, yeah,
So lucky these people didn't enhance it. जो भी है. Right. I was worried now because of this UP election and all. They
yeah.
are going to give something free of cost. Right.
No,
Again, there will be.
they have to win UP now. I mean, that is
Yeah.
a must win kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think माहौल is better. Let's see. Because again, rowdy Raj नहीं आने का है.
Exactly. This otherwise it's just simply
With 20 crore people depending on violence means how it will happen, sir. Right? Yeah? It is literally atrocious. Right?
I know. It is a sad situation. I
Yeah.
mean, so
Sir, good afternoon, sir. Haris.
Harish, sir.
Yeah, yeah, Haris, sir. Yeah. Sir, your
You're on mute,
voice is
sir.
not.
Mute.
You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, I was on mute. I said
Yeah.
good afternoon, or rather good evening.
Hope soon we can travel normally.
Yeah. I think more and more things are opening up. So you are wanting to meet this gentleman in Bombay. You want me to come? I'll join.
Let him confirm, sir.
Yeah,
We confirm नहीं किया है. let him confirm, and there is. I'll definitely inform you. So if there is sufficient time, I'll inform you.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I see that your daughter has joined, Abhimanyu.
Yeah. I think today is Saturday, no second Saturday holiday.
Yeah. And she being a banker, it's her interest.
That's it. Yes. Good afternoon, Aparna. So, Rajesh, can you start?
All right, sir. I'm just waiting for a few more to just a minute.
Okay.
Since 4:30, we'll start, sir.
You can.
Yeah. Satish, sir, should we start?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
I'll just give a brief introduction, sir. Give me 2 minutes, then
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can proceed. I'll introduce. So, good afternoon, everyone. We are once again very pleased to welcome Shri Satish ji to our today's Saturday talk. Satish Betadpur ji is our own director with Janyutech Technologies, and he's a certified financial advisor, CFA. Apart from Janyutech Technologies, he's the managing director of State Global Advisors, which is providing research and solutions to help 4.1 trillion US dollar assets under management. That is a quite huge this thing, sir. And as Satish just mentioned on his LinkedIn profile, they are bringing Wall Street research to Bangalore. That was the aim is there, sir. And we had the similar session on the same topic before budget, I think a couple of months back on Saturday Talks only, wherein we wanted to understand what is virtual currency, because there was a lot of ambiguity was there initially. But I think a lot of things have been cleared after the budget session. And so we thought to getting back to Satish and request him to give us more clarity how it is post-budget. So, sir, over to you from here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you, everyone, for giving me this opportunity to talk on this subject. I think the first talk that I had given was more about what is cryptocurrency and what are the enabling factors that we had, such as blockchain, etc. So I'll just now continue on from there, and then from the Indian perspective, what happened in the budget and how does that affect this whole area going forward. Okay, so the budget, there was we were all wondering whether these private cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin or Ethereum and others would be banned in India, or would it be just regulated in India. Now, neither happened. It wasn't banned. There was no regulation that also got in. What did happen was the gains on trading or gains related to any cryptocurrency was taxed at 30%, and also TDS was introduced. Now, we have a lot of crypto exchanges in India, and you may have seen ads for those with some Ranveer Singh and others. So where you can buy and sell Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So we know who's buying and who's selling and what profits they have. So it's like any other trading scheme, like equity trading scheme or whatever trading scheme. So you can tax. So we know how much profit somebody has made or losses, and you can tax the gain. So that's what the finance minister finally did. That if you're making money on trading of these cryptos, you'll have to pay a tax of 30% on the profit. So they did not do anything with regards to regulation. Neither did they ban, but they just said, look, we will tax you for any gains you have, and you cannot offset any losses if you have on your crypto. So it's like a one-way only. So usually in stock market trading, equity trading, if you have losses, you can offset it against future gains, or if it's a long-term capital loss, then you can offset against long-term capital gain in some other asset. So here there was none of that. So that was what the budget came out with. Now, in one sense, they gave legitimacy to the crypto market. In another sense, they kept the door open for future, if necessary, banning of this whole thing. Now, my thing was, my personal opinion is it shouldn't ban anything. This is like, if people want to gamble, and let's treat them like adults. If they lose money, that's their headache, and if they make money, then we get capital gains tax, and that will help the treasury. So I think, in high in looking at it, it was not a bad way of going forward. Now, the Chinese have taken an opposite route. They've banned any trading of crypto. And so all of that goes underground, and, it'll happen in dark webs and stuff like that. If you so we don't have any of those kind of situation here. So what next? We did not endorse the crypto, neither did we ban crypto. So what did the finance minister say? She said she will introduce in the next couple of years something called CBDC, that's central bank digital currency. So instead of you going and buying a private digital currency, there are any number of them, the Bitcoin being the most popular, we will have our own digital currency, possibly called e-rupee. So Sweden has e-krona, China has e-yuan, and so those are the two big ones that have their own central bank digital currency. We will also have our own central bank digital currency probably called e-rupee. But what does that mean, right? Can I make money on e-rupee like I make money on Bitcoin, or can I lose money? No, it's not. You cannot do it, because this is not a speculative instrument. It's like any other regular rupee currency. It's a fiat currency, meaning it's backed by the government, and therefore your 1 rupee is equal to 1 e-rupee. So it's a different form. Instead of paper, it is digitally available in a wallet that you need to create online. So you create a wallet online, which is probably using blockchain technology, and you will store your e-rupee there, which is equivalent to keeping money in your wallet or keeping money in your under the mattress. Now, there's a big difference versus keeping money in a bank. Okay, we'll get to that now. So the central CBDC or e-rupee is now, let's say you have this wallet and you put money into it. Let's say your salary account goes straight into this digital wallet. Now, what does that mean? That means that you don't need a bank anymore to disintermediate this currency transaction. So RBI doesn't need to print any money. They just need to keep the accounts on a electronic ledger and transfer that money. Let's hypothetically assume it's your salary account, or it could be also gain from somewhere. So that amount comes into your account and it's debited from somebody else's account who has to pay you. Let's say Janu is paying their employees from Janu's account, or somewhere else where you make the income. It goes directly into your digital account. Now, in this whole thing, all of this is happening electronically, just like it would happen today electronically, but there is no bank present there. So in this digital currency, the need for a bank for simple transaction like moving money from one person to another, you don't need the bank, and it can happen instantaneously. So even today, RTGS is almost instantaneous, but it's still, there can be some delay, some lags. You still need to fill out some forms, etc., etc. Here, it can be more seamless, especially money transfers to global centers. You want to transfer big chunks of money from your company account to buy something overseas. These transactions can happen through our digital currencies in a very seamless manner without getting involved with banks. right? Because you have the money in your own wallet and it's just going. You need the bank for, when you need to like borrow money, etc. Of course, you need banks. Now, the other thing about digital currency, as opposed to Bitcoin, digital currency can give you interest. Now, Bitcoins don't give you interest. Bitcoin, other private cryptocurrencies don't give you any interest, right? That is just, you buy a Bitcoin, you have it, it appreciates or depreciates, whatever. That's how you kind of speculate and make money. Here with e-rupee digital currency, you can earn interest the way you would have earned interest by keeping money in a bank. But it will be even more safe because it will be with the central bank. So RBI, so it's the credit of RBI, which is Government of India backed. So you don't have to worry about a bank going belly up or what all of that if you're keeping a e-rupee in your wallet, right? So that's a big advantage of having a CBDC. Now, CBDCs itself is not such a revolutionary thought. Think of really old ages when kings were giving gold coins and stuff, right? So we didn't have a bank then. It was it was pieces of gold that was being transferred. We were carrying that as a store of value, and you were kind of using that. So in some sense, it's back to those days, but not quite. Now it's much more efficient because it's digital and it's faster. So so the key thing is less use of a bank for normal transactions, or no use of a bank for normal transactions, right? And it becomes much more efficient. And so that's the big advantage that we have here. Now, so what does that mean for banks? Now, banks have it. I know we have a fantastic banker in our midst, so I'm not going to say I'm an expert banker, but one thing that we know in banks, people who keep money in savings account are net losers, in the sense, you need money in savings account because you need, maybe need urgent money, but sometimes you forget about it. Maybe we should have been keeping it in an FD, which gets you better in earnings. But for banks, the more money there is in a savings account or current account savings account, CASA as they say it, the better it is for them, because the amount they need to give out is less than the amount that they earn on that CASA money. So now there is a risk that the CASA that the banks have may drop precipitously, and in which case, banks would have to take more risk to make their net interest margins. So there is that ramification of the CBDC. If it really takes off, how would the banks react? And this is dynamic. I mean, they could come up with something else to make themselves more profitable. But as it stands today, there are certain disadvantages for banks. Now, I'm sure banks can think of other ways and ideas of making themselves more profitable with the e-rupee situation. So I will kind of now, I don't know. Let me stop for a few minutes, and if there are any questions before I go further.
Sir, Abhimanyu here. I have a question. The question of this cryptocurrency is for making extraordinary gains based on speculation or gamble, something like that. So when you are introducing a digital currency, it is not going to give any extraordinary gain. So is it going to serve the purpose, or is it going to be an alternative for this crypto? That is an alternate currency, but this crypto is going to give them some benefits which these digital currencies may not be able to offer. So do you think that this is anyway an alternative to crypto?
So absolutely right, sir, that there is no speculative opportunity by owning e-rupee or this digital currency. Um, um, so there is absolutely no, you cannot speculate, right? Because it's 1 e-rupee equal to 1 rupee for all practical purposes. We are yeah. So it won't move wildly. It will move as much as it would move against dollar as it does today, right? It may depreciate or appreciate. And appreciation of rupee and e-rupee will be identical based on our macroeconomic fundamentals and or our inflation versus other countries' inflation. So there is no chance of this huge moves that we have in Bitcoin. Now, the reason for Bitcoin moving up and down that much is purely speculative, yeah, and in there's also supply demand features involved in it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So so why would somebody bring about a digital currency? The main reason is it will improve efficiency of fund transfer. Okay, so and for a country like ours, which is underbanked, and it's possible that every person in India can have a wallet, digital wallet, and the government can transfer funds directly to their digital wallet instead of using a bank. All right. Now, you are still using banks now, but very far away places where you have to walk miles or get to a bank. Those are difficult places where banks may not be there. Then sending funds to somebody's digital wallet may be a better option. This is not going to happen in the next few years. It'll take a while before the ecosystem spreads. And once it spreads, then we may be able to utilize that benefits of the efficiencies on this platform.
Okay. Another thing, what I could see in this budget, sir, this RBI is again going to have the digital currency also, the custodian of the digital currency or the concept also. See, will it serve a purpose that the one system which has been always used to this physical currency is going to be the custodian of a currency which is virtual? Will it, I mean, or it has to be some other institution which is most modern, right from the birth itself, they know what is it, digitalization and other things. Because RBI is coping up with this perfection of the existing physical system itself now. And the same institution again going into the digital things, will it be a wise one, sir?
Yeah, good. I mean, that's a good question for the government to like ponder, because like you said, regulatory wise, it's not difficult. It's the same regulatory mechanism. They don't have to print that much physical money, so that helps. But whether technologically, whether they are savvy enough to come up with this solution, or whether it would be better to have somebody else come up. I don't know. But ultimately, because it's a currency, it is a government currency, be it digital, it has to be monitored by RBI. So even RBI prints money, like when you say, okay, we are printing money now because we are, so if there is physically, we may be printing money then, right? That actually does happen. Whereas to increase money supply, whereas in digital, you don't have to, you just have to, on a ledger, you kind of like, print money, so to speak, right? So those are efficiency gains, and the technology is something that it's again an evolving technology. Now you can't use the technology that Bitcoin has and say, okay, I'm going to create another Bitcoin using the similar technology, because in Bitcoin, one of the biggest drawback is, let's say you create a wallet and you have a lot of Bitcoins in that wallet and you're rich. Let's hypothetically, this has happened. You forget to give the password to your wife, spouse, children, whatever, and you die. There's no way somebody else, if they don't know the password, that money is gone. There is no way you can get to that money. There is no, and then if let's say by mistake you transfer money to somebody else, um, and you want to like back off from that or reverse it, you can't do it. The code is such that you cannot reverse anything there. So that can't happen in e-rupee kind of situations. Like we need to be able to kind of like reverse things even in under certain circumstances, and or be able to get inheritance is done properly even if somebody passes away without whatever, sharing the passwords, etc. So the technology for that is evolving. Now it still will be blockchain based, because that's the most efficient as of now, but they may have to make changes to it, and you need savvy, technologically very sophisticated people to do that. Now is RBI and its staff the best, or yeah, that's a good question.
Okay, so if I can have one more question.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. See, for the benefit of the new joinees or people who missed your earlier session, can you just briefly tell about what is a cryptocurrency, how it is being made? Whether we can, one more boy, in fact, he's not there right now, he's inside. He asked me a question to convey to you. Then can we have companies to make cryptocurrencies? A group of people joining and having a fintech company, they produce only cryptocurrencies.
The quick answer to the second question is absolutely. You want to create a cryptocurrency, there's nothing that prevents you from doing it. You just have to convince enough people that there is that they need to buy this, and then they need to trade it and have the value go up. And somehow you have to make that ecosystem kind of buoyant, so that people start believing in your crypto. Now, the Bitcoin basically was something like that 10 years, maybe 11, 12 years ago, when one guy wrote this code, and obviously it's one technologically extremely sophisticated piece of code, where he said, I will only create 21,000 Bitcoins, some number like that. I'm sorry if I'm mistaking the number there. So limited number of Bitcoins will only be allowed to be mined. Mined in the sense you run this program for multiple days or whatever, and then one Bitcoin shows up in your wallet. Okay, so that's called mining. Initial days, you would get one or two Bitcoins a day. And then now you need to spend maybe weeks for one Bitcoin to come, or two, months before a Bitcoin shows up. And all that computing power takes a lot of energy off the grid. So now Bitcoin mining happens in countries or places where the electricity cost is low, right? So if let's say cost of Bitcoin is $40,000, but if you're spending $60,000 on mining because that much electricity is utilized, then it doesn't make sense to mine, right? So before, in the old days, China used to mine the most. Then the Chinese banned the whole thing. Now it's moved back to like specialized folks who mine for Bitcoins using the cheapest power available. So the whole concept there is you kind of use some algorithm, and you run this algorithm, and you mine and when you're running this algorithm, the Bitcoin will pop up. It's equivalent to your mining, and suddenly one diamond shows up and you're digging the earth. Here you are running this code for many days on the end, and suddenly something comes up. So the concept is digital mining, and there it's real mining. So for in gold and diamond, etc. So absolutely, somebody can set this up. It's somewhat of a Ponzi scheme type of thing, because the initial folks who believe in you make a lot of money, and subsequent folks kind of speculate and may make money or may lose money, which is what is happening in Bitcoin right now, right? But then there are believers who believe that Bitcoin, which is at $40,000 today, will go to $300,000 or $3 lakh in the next few years. So if you believe in that, then okay, fine. You have your reasons to believe, because you believe that there is only a limited number of Bitcoin that will be produced and the value will go up because of supply demand imbalances. And as more and more people are accepting Bitcoins, the value of Bitcoin goes up. Now, you could argue against this very logically, but then it's like religion now. Either you believe in it or you don't believe in it. You can't really change a person who doesn't believe into becoming a believer in this Bitcoin scenario. So coming back to how Bitcoins came about, that's how it came about 10-12 years ago. It started with one guy, Satoshi, has his.
Sir, you are offline.
Oh, okay, it's back.
Yeah.
You can hear me now, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just turn on the camera. Okay. So I don't know where I was, but
Yeah. You are talking about someone started mining it to 20,000, all the things.
yeah. So the early days, there were these people who really believed in it, bet on it. So they got a lot of these coins for themselves. So then now they are like sitting, its value has gone up, right? The early days, Bitcoin used to be like $5, $10, $100, like that. It gradually moved up.
Yes.
And same with Ethereum. It started at, like less than $1. Then it kind of moved up. Now it's, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000 kind of. So people, if you get a following, then people start, betting on it and moving forward. Now, so that's how these private cryptocurrencies have mushroomed. There are many now,
Yes.
and if you go to Coinbase, which is the biggest um, traders of this worldwide, it's called Coinbase.com. You can just go check it out. Coinbase, one word, .com, and you can see the list of all the Bitcoins there, all the cryptocurrencies there. And then you can see the price move up and down. It's like another stock market kind of thing. So
Is there any way we find a currency, regular currency at the end of a Bitcoin gamble, sir?
it gives
Maybe
you the value in rupees. So today's value of Bitcoin in dollars is 40,000. Equivalent in rupees, it will give you. But that's what you get, right? I don't know. I
can I
didn't get,
encash
maybe I
it?
didn't get the question.
No, my question is, can I encash it? Suppose I have a Bitcoin. Can I encash it in rupee form at any point of time?
So in general, yeah, people use Bitcoin to buy things. Okay. So in general, you use the Bitcoin to as a barter to buy something else. Generally, don't cash. Um, the reason is, what has happened now. There's a new trend that has happened. You have cryptocurrencies, then you use that cryptocurrency to use that cryptocurrency to buy what is called uh, NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Um, so these could be art, um, you know, and then what happens? Most people are doing. They can buy cars in America, for example. You can buy a Tesla, or whatever. But in addition to that, they use this to speculate on digital items, and the most popular digital item is art.
Art.
Now,
Yes.
this is another. You can go Google search on digital art, okay, using NFT, non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible token is nothing more than, I don't know, if you go on a sub metro, if you give, whatever, you get a token, and the token is only used on the metro. You can't use that token anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
So it's non-fungible, meaning I cannot take the token and go to a Udupi restaurant to buy coffee. So it's, in that sense, it's non-fungible. So the same concept here, non-fungible tokens are utilized to buy, art is created, and then you can buy art, then you speculate on that art, so you get double speculation using these cryptocurrency. Not only the cryptocurrency is going up, the value of the art also can go up.
So it's a double gamble rather.
Double gamble, and a lot of people are doing this now. One guy recently, about a year, not recently, but maybe 6 months, 9 months ago, he bought a piece of art for $69 million, an Indian origin fellow in Singapore. Nobody had heard of this. So it was more expensive than some painters from the 16th century, 17th century. So suddenly everybody said, what is happening here? Why is this paint, which is a digital paint, which was basically you went on a computer and spent some time and put everything, all the image collages into one big screen, and then you sold it. It was unique, but you and I can also do that. I mean, but how did he manage to get $69 million? But because it was $69 million, because it was all paid in cryptocurrencies. Now, but that guy still was able to then use that money to do other things, right? I mean, it's still Bitcoin, while is not easily converted to cash and stuff. It can be converted. It's not that there are people who do it. You can buy cards and stuff like that, and then it's accepted tender in many places now.
Okay. So one more point, sir. What was the need for the cryptocurrency itself? QI initially. Every country had its own dollars, its own currencies, its own paper currencies, everything. What was the need for it basically?
Yeah,
any countries for dollars or any different target, which is
yes,
not.
Sir. It's a very good question. There is a group of people who believe that this medium of exchange should be fully democratized. It should not be controlled by any country. Okay. So, now effectively US dollar is the world's reserve currency. In the sense, most people will try to buy and sell, maybe not directly transfer in dollars, but they will convert to dollars to make sure that, the pricing is right. So when you're buying oil, it's barrels per dollar. Or if you're buying anything else, also it's barrel. Of course, when countries don't have access to dollars, like when we were in the 70s and 80s, when we were didn't have any dollars, we would do barter agreements with Russia or somebody, where we'd say we'll send you wheat and you give us arms, and we'd say we are trading in ruble and rupee. Everybody effectively knew it was just a barter. So that's the philosophy behind these Bitcoins, is that there is no no country involved in it.
Aparna, you had some question?
I have a question.
Yeah. Sorry, please go ahead.
There was a news item which said that there are 10 crore Indians who are into cryptocurrency trading.
Yes.
So this looks to be too high, very, very high. 10 crore Indians is a massive number. It's almost like. Then another thing which said that there's a 16 lakh crore transactions happening in cryptocurrency in India. 16 lakh crore rupees, again, is a very mind-boggling number. These two numbers are not fitting in my head.
So, sir, we have gray hair. and we don't believe in all of this. But if you talk to like people who kind of work for us and stuff, in especially this in finance sector or even otherwise, the normal, they do speculate a lot on this. But I don't know, the 10 crore number seems a lot, because even that month, I don't know whether we have that many stock market participants only. If we definitely don't have that many people who are paying taxes, or salaried people who pay taxes. So these are staggering numbers. Maybe the young folks really do trade, and until this point, it was all done without any taxation, without any issues with the government. So and these companies that are in the intermediaries, the trading companies, they seem to be doing well. So even if it's not 10 crore, they seem to have a pretty decent customer base for trading. Some of these numbers may be a little exaggerated, but it is a growing market, no doubt.
Okay.
Good evening, sir.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your kind words earlier. I couldn't respond at the time. But I wanted to ask, will the e-rupee have any dynamic with the existing cryptocurrencies or the upcoming ones? Or they're going to be completely independent of each other?
So the e-rupee and Bitcoin will not have any relationship other than the relationship that exists now. Bitcoin trades at whatever value, and that's it. So $40,000 converted into rupees is what one Bitcoin will be in Indian rupees. So that will be completely different. And e-rupee versus, say, e-krona or e-yuan will be the same as what the regular rupee versus krona, rupee versus yuan exchange rate will be. So there will not be any, they should not be, and hopefully there will not be much of an arbitrage between a e-rupee and a physical rupee. I can see a scenario where there can be arbitrage by small amounts because of the convenience factor, or maybe the interest rate differentials. Maybe banks will be paying more interest rates at some point. So therefore, maybe the physical rupee may be a little higher rather than but it shouldn't, because it is the same underlying currency, and the same underlying issuer, which is the government of India through RBI. So both should have identical value.
Okay, sir. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Is the government planning to tax or make some charges on these transactions that happen through the Bitcoin or any other kind of cryptocurrency? Are we planning to bring it under the tax bracket somehow?
So the last tax bill, they've taxed the gain at 30%. So,
Okay.
so if you are on any of these exchanges, and obviously there's KYC norms on those exchanges, so people know who's made money. So they have to pay 30% tax on gains. Unfortunately, any losses can't be offset. And in addition to that, there is a TDS that's going to be levied on these transactions. So it's hypothetically possible that not only do you pay TDS at purchase, you'll end up losing the money. So and which you cannot offset against any other gains. So it could be a double whammy situation for many people on this. So it's the government is.
So how are people going to pay for this tax or TDS? That will be through the rupee?
Yeah, that will be through the rupee, which will be, I think, captured by the exchanges. You have to have account or a wallet opened on the exchange. So that's where you do it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
No problem. There was one question here, so let me just read it. Many people are betting during cricket matches, irrespective of age, position, regular or contract labor. To extrapolate 10 crore will be understatement. Okay, so we have a good point that if you're betting during cricket matches, using these crypto things, then yeah, 10 crore number may be an understatement. That's fair. That's a good point. If you look at it that way. And cricket betting is a big deal, right? So, and if you're betting on crypto, it's a very efficient way of betting. You don't have to send goons after you to uh, collect money, etc.
That's right.
So I'll go back to another point in this central bank currencies, digital currencies. Almost every country now is looking into this. Some countries are more advanced in this, but every country is trying to introduce this. So it's not just us. We are, also including in a part of this wave of central banks that wants to introduce it. I think it's just an efficiency gain across the board to have this. Now, again, even in this, there is they will have a couple of varieties of it. One is for retail usage, and one is for wholesale usage. Retail usage is people like you and me trying to use the central bank digital currency for transactions. Similar to where we kind of use, not currently Google Pay or Paytm, but that comes out of your bank. You have to have a bank, whereas where the money comes out of that. Whereas if you're using a retail central bank digital currency, it comes out of your wallet, and that whole wallet is held by the government, so to speak. Yeah. So that's and similarly for wholesale. Wholesale will be probably for companies who want to use money transfers across the globe, and that system will be more efficient. So those are the two types generally people are focusing on for CBDC. Any other questions or thoughts?
There is a question, no, sir?
Yeah. Sorry, I saw that. So, sir, as you mentioned, it's difficult to recover Bitcoin account if we lose access key. Similar things will be used in illegal way as well. So, what is your opinion on this? So, with Bitcoin, that's a good question. In Bitcoin, who do you talk to? Nobody. The exchanges will just say, "Look, we are an exchange. We don't have any control over what you did. It's your wallet. If somebody hacked into you, which is difficult, but who knows, possible, and you lost everything, I can't help it. I'm just facilitating this. There's no legal recourse of any kind, because it's not backed by any country jurisdiction or anything, right? So that's, some people like it. That's the beauty of Bitcoin for some people, right? Others, with e-rupee and other central bank digital currencies, there will be some recourse, because it is after all the currency of the country. So for example, in normal physical currency, if somebody makes a fake currency and if the banks have been able to catch it and whatever, and then you can kind of like go after these crooks and criminals, and if you do something similar or you do something illegal on the CBDCs, it's possible that RBI, Government of India, our own judicial system, police, etc., can be involved in helping the aggrieved party. So that's the advantage of going with the central bank digital currency. Now, you can't compare one against the other in real honesty. It's like, it's not even apples and oranges. It's like, this Bitcoin is a completely different animal altogether, and then the central bank is digital currency is a different animal. This is, one is used for pure speculation. The other one is a normal currency like you have. You have your rupee, which is you need that for normal. So that's how I would look at it.
Mani sir, you had a question, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, Satish ji. It's very good going. Like we are getting enlightened by your talk. Thanks for that.
No problem.
Yeah, I have a question. Like generally, like Indian way of finance controlled by the people is saving for the future, or saving for the uncertainties. So we always used to save either in bank or in some other way or something like that. And the system had a good return for savings so far. Like we used to have like 15% interest for the FD, and now it has come to maybe 4 or 5%. Whereas other countries, they always give very, very less interest for savings, because they would like people to use the money in the market for playing with shares or playing with investments. So, like for example, in Singapore, they give only 0.5% interest for the savings account, 0.2% interest for the savings account. So everybody is forced to take out the money and do some other way of multiplying it. But ultimately, it is a very risky factor for the public. That's how all the countries, when everything fell down, we were very strong, even in financial crisis. So is this way of e-currency and this reduce? Currently, we are seeing the interest is going down in banks for the fixed deposits. So is it indirectly mean that say the government wants people to come out and then recirculate the money in the market and get into the risk of handling the money and holding the money?
Sir, I'll answer this way, right? So why is interest rates coming down? So there are two main reasons. One is what the concept which we call as real interest rates. So real interest rate is the interest rate you get over and above inflation. So if our country is running inflation at 5-6%, you want to have at least few percentage more than that on your savings account or your FD. So you have a real interest rate, which is only, so the difference between your nominal interest rate that you get from the bank, let's say you're getting 8% and inflation is 6%, the real interest rate is 2%. So effectively, you need to have a positive real interest rate so that you can maintain your standard of living, right? So if your inflation keeps dropping, the nominal interest rate also keeps dropping, so that the real interest rate that you get is still stable around, let's say, 2%. Now, in countries such as US, not in the last year has been a complete 180-degree turn in US and Europe and other places. But prior to that, inflation was negative to almost zero. There was no price increase anywhere. Japan has been running like this since 1990s, where there has been no price increase. In fact, prices keep dropping. So they have so their interest rates are very low, nominal interest rate. That is the amount you get when you go to a bank. So that the real interest rate, because if the prices are going lower, even if you get 1 or 2% interest or 0.5%, you're still having a positive real interest rate. That's what the banks aim to give you. So that is one reason why in developed countries, bank rate of interest for your savings and FDs keep going down. Now, one can argue then, inflation may be going down, but there may be certain unique items for which the prices may be going up, which may not be captured in this inflation basket, as we call it. So inflation basket is some random 40-50 goods that they put, the government puts, and they monitor the prices. Now, okay, for the 40-50 basket items, they calculated, but many times you and I may be using things that are not in that basket, for which the prices may be going up. One thing that maybe when you're trying to buy a house, prices of houses are going up, and if you keep money in an FD and earning at whatever positive real interest rate, you still won't be able to buy that house by earning from an FD. So things like that happen. So it is not that the government wants you to invest in speculative assets. It is just that you are kind of forced to, because your bank is not giving you sufficient positive real interest rate. Now, so therefore people, many people, at least in India, what have they done? They prefer to own physical assets. So people who have some extra money try to buy a second house, so that that price hike or the rent hike can keep up their standard of living, instead of keeping it in an FD or something where the rates keep coming down. Now, so because otherwise, if you go to the stock market, there may be a couple of good years and a couple of bad years. If you're young, it's okay. You have a 30-40 year time frame to earn money. But if you're close to retirement and you want to live in a good retirement, you can't speculate and lose money, even if it's temporarily. If for 5 years the market goes down, you will feel poor, and your standard of living will be, and if you're depending on that money, not feel poor, you will be poor. If your standard living deteriorates if the market goes down drastically, and even if it comes up after 5 years, it's too late for you, right? Because you need that money now, not later. So I think the reason, it's not necessarily that the government wants you to put money into speculative assets. It's the fact that we have had deflationary environment for so long that rates have declined. Now, last year, and especially in the last 2 months, inflation in the US is higher than the inflation in India, which is never unheard of. Last 2 days ago, the inflation number in the US came, it was 7.5%. And the bank savings rate there is less than 0.5%. So if you had put money in a bank today, you're down almost 8% in your standard of living, because that's how much inflation is now kicked in. And the reason inflation kicked in there is because of COVID, the government gave every family cash. And they dropped rates dramatically, interest rates, so that you could borrow freely. So what happened was the economic activity picked up dramatically. At the same time, supply chain from China was completely disrupted, because the Chinese have this philosophy of zero COVID tolerance. So they were shutting cities after cities after cities. And so your supply chain from China, where almost 80-90% of goods or of the world are coming, got impacted. So there was no supply. You have heard of chip shortage, you've heard of every kind of shortage. So that automatically rose prices of goods, and inflation has picked up now. I don't know whether it will come down at some point when China comes back on stream, or now, whatever. But that's so it's not necessarily the government trying to push anybody into risky assets, like I said. So that's where we are.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
So anything else, sir, on this topic?
So any other questions we can ask right now? Otherwise, afterwards also we can send us a mail. Satish ji is available to us, so we'll clarify the doubts. And I think almost we are coming to end of the session. Any more questions?
Curious question. I have one. So thank you for the very.
One question.
Yes, Prithviraj.
Yeah. one question, sir.
I think there is
This
another.
word mining is used. Why is the word mining is used for the case of finding coins? I don't get it actually.
It's a good question. I mean, it's a so what happens is like you mine